Hello. Good morning, everyone. And how is everyone doing today? Let me just send the link to a few people. So if you are here and listening, can you type one in the chat? Or just say hello. Looks like we have a few people just jump in. So today we are going to be learning how to make apps. This is the second workshop that I've done with my friend Akhilesh. And the first workshop was using Cursor, which is a tool for making apps. Which is a tool for making apps using AI. Now, Cursor requires that you need to code a little bit. So we thought it'd be fun if we do a workshop for everyone who doesn't know any coding whatsoever. And to do that, we're going to use some other tools, some really cool tools out there. But before we get started, I'm just going to wait a couple of minutes just to make sure that everyone from the Discord is able to join in. All right. Cool. All right. Hey.
Hello.
So, good morning. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Oops. I finally figured out how to put the slides properly in, but the little robot doesn't dance. So that's the last thing that I have to fix.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. But it looks good. Oh, maybe I know how to fix it. Okay, cool. So yeah, I'm just waiting to see if a couple more people will join, and then we shall.
Are we not already live now?
Yeah, we're live, but people can't actually join until we're live. The way we're doing it now, because we decide to go fully through YouTube. Cool. So yeah, let's start. So basically, today we're going to be using Anthropic Artifacts, which is a tool where you can make apps without writing any code at all. A little different than our first workshop, where you had to basically you had to do a little bit of coding, and you had to open an editor. Today we're going to see if we can make an app without even opening a code editor and deploy it to the internet. So basic concept is like the stack. Even if you're not writing code, you should still know what is a stack. And the way I would describe it is it's sort of like the foundation for your house. Everything gets built on top of that. And after you've chosen the stack for the app that you're going to build, you cannot just take that out and put in a new stack without rewriting all of the code. So the stack is the programming language that you're using, as well as the libraries that are written in that programming language that you're building on top of, that you're using in your code. So for example, JavaScript and Next.js is a stack. By the way, Akish, if you have any questions or anything's unclear, just chip in.
Yep, for sure.
So that's a stack, and That's going to be a core concept, even if you've never coded before. And the first question that you have to decide when you're making any web app is, am I going to use JavaScript or Python? And then for each of those, you'll have even more decisions for what stack that you actually want to use. So this is not an easy decision, especially if you are new to coding. The way I would probably describe the way I think about it is JavaScript is intended for making web interfaces. And so if you want to have an interface that has many UI components, whether it's in a web browser or even mobile, you can use JavaScript. But think if you're having hundreds of different custom text boxes and buttons and sliders and carousels and all of these things, this is where JavaScript really, really excels. Python, on the other hand, excels more in data science and in, it's essentially the language used for data science. So if the core of your app is more of like calculating things, and then the interface is more just a wrapper around that, then Python is a great way to go. And you can use AI to generate JavaScript and Python apps very easily. However, you cannot switch, as I mentioned before, you cannot switch halfway through when you're building your app. You could build the front end in JavaScript and the back end in Python. I wouldn't recommend that for a beginner, but you can't just change over halfway through. So enough talking. The next thing that I'm going to do is we're just going to have a little demo. So basically, I will open Claude.ai in a new tab. Let me see if I can share that. Cool. So this is this is Claude, which is an LLM, which is an LLM created by a company Anthropic, and it has one feature which is really superior to what OpenAI has, which is that it can create little mini apps for you. And OpenAI's GPT can run Python code, but Claude can actually run the code and display the preview of the interface for you. So I want to do something fun quickly. I want to say, can you make a small app where I put in information about a pizza, size, etc., and you give me the recipe? And you really just need something like this to start out. Now notice I didn't actually specify what stack to use. Now that's going to be really important. But the first thing it said is, I'll create a React component that takes pizza specifications and generates recipe. So that means that the stack that's being used is React, and therefore React and JavaScript together. Now, different AI assistants specialize in different stacks, and Claude specializes in React JavaScript, and actually it cannot do anything else. That's why I didn't ask it, because I knew that it wouldn't be able to do a Python app, for example, if I asked it. And this is what we get right away. So I can select the size of the pizza, the crust, mushrooms, and of course, and it's just live. Is it just, let's see, so if I said that was 10 inches was 300 grams. And if I do 12 inches, okay, it's more. This is cool. This is kind of boring. What do you think I should change?
Probably add some more toppings, add some what kind of and probably add a specialized and text input field where people can add their own toppings.
Oh, okay, cool. Allow the user to add any toppings via another
Text input,
like
basically.
a list, something like this.
Yeah.
So, so I won't go too much into prompting because it's all just trial and error. But what I will say about prompting in my experience is, oh, hey, Yulia, how's it going? Yeah, you can rewatch the beginning of this, but basically, we've just started using Claude.ai. It's just the website Claude.ai, and we put in some prompts. So you haven't missed much. And so here's the custom interface that Akhilesh asked for. We're not doing any coding. We haven't looked at any code yet. And I can say, I know Akhilesh loves to have cauliflower and spinach. So that will now show up under the toppings. Pretty cool. And now we can sell this recipe. Cool. So when I tried this for the first time, I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. I made an app. Now, there's other websites where you can generate apps with AI, and then you can actually deploy them. There's not that many, and they're not that good. I don't think they're really as easy to work with as this, but here they don't really tell you how to deploy the application. So now that you know how to generate the application, and pretty much anyone can do that, you just type in a prompt. I want to show you how you can actually make a website out of this, like a live deployment. The first thing that I tried to do was download the code. Now, if you download the code, you'll just get a file which looks like this. Now, I know that this is a workshop for people with no coding experience. So it's totally normal that this just looks, indecipherable to you, this code. But if we look at it just a little bit, we can see some important things like import React means that we're using the React JavaScript stack. And then also import card, input button. That means that we're using these components, these UI components that are coming from other files. Now, if I just download this file, I don't include any of this, and it's not a complete application. It's just the special part of the application which we just designed. Maybe if we have more time, I'll go through like more of this and sort of how you can understand and debug what's going on here. But for myself, even as an experienced coder, I'm not even going to read all of this because it wrote it way faster than I could write. So how to deploy this? So what I did was I got this working on my own, and I made a little template that you can use. So here's my GitHub page. And so if I just go into my repositories and I go for this, run Anthropic Artifacts in Next.js, and I'll copy this link and I'll post it in here. So basically, once you have generated your artifact in Anthropic, you can go to my template and you can say, use this template and create a new one. So I'm going to call this pizza generator app. Pizza generator app. That's going to create a new repository with all of the other code that this one needs. Now, the good thing is that doesn't change from one artifact to another. So the only thing I have to do now is I have to just copy and paste in the code that Claude created. So we've done this step. Now we have to replace app/artifact.jsx. So I go to app and artifact.jsx. And here right in the browser, I can edit this. I can copy this and paste it in. Now this is pretty much guaranteed to work. I guarantee. So the next step that I'm going to do, so now it's done. This is a working app. Well, the code, this is a complete source code of the application. I didn't have to actually code anything. Now I'm going to go to Vercel.com. And Vercel is, so right now I'm logging in with my GitHub.
We cannot see the, oh yeah, perfect.
And I know I always hate to type in my password when people are watching. So then once I'm in Vercel, then I will click add new project. And here it's connected to my GitHub. So because I signed in with GitHub. So yeah, I probably should have mentioned you need to have a GitHub account and a Vercel account, but both are free. And Claude is also free. And that's the reason why I chose these three for this workshop. And I'll click import. And I'll click deploy. And it has automatically detected that the stack we are using is next.js. Now, next.js is a slightly more, it is like React, but it has slightly more features, and it's 100% compatible with React. So it's fine to use for the output of Claude artifacts. So this is the most boring part of the demo, and Vercel takes like 1 or 2 minutes to deploy.
But this is a really straightforward process. Once you have all the steps, you can just do it in like half an hour.
Yeah.
And that also is the maximum time. So you can just do it in 15 minutes if it's like a small project.
Yeah, I mean, we've just done this in 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And if nothing breaks...
If nothing breaks, yeah.
So it looks like something did break, which is fine.
Okay. So there's we need to do end quote instead of.
Yeah, which is fine because this happens. So if I go to, do you see what the error was there?
Yeah, so it's basically wherever there are double inverted quotes, we need to put and then QUOT. It's just ESLint error.
Yeah, but this is React, so React would be fine with double quotes, right?
But if you added that in the template, if the ESLint file, ESLint is in the template that you shared in GitHub repository, then it will be that.
So here's my ESLint file. It's like this, right?
Doesn't look anything.
So here's what I did before, which worked really well. I just took this. I went to ChatGPT, and I said, I got this error.
Yeah, paste in the error as well. So.
Yeah, got this error. Update the file.
Perfect.
Please. Okay. And so it just gave me a new. Yeah, the code that comes out of the AI is like a slightly different style than what's expected sometimes. But I'm just gonna add this one line.
This just depends on what type of component rules, ESLint rules you are using. So it's really up to the user. But AI, most of the time, it gives pretty non-error code, so it should be fine.
Yeah, and I will improve the template actually over time, because if I know exactly the type of code that's coming out of Claude, then the template can be pre-configured to take that code. So it's partially my mistake for not preparing the template properly, and it will be updated for everyone else after. We had a question like, why are we using Claude? Yeah, so we touched on this really briefly before. So OpenAI has GPT, and GPT can run Python code and show you the results as a chart, for example. But you can't actually make an interactive app with GPT. And with Claude, you can. Now, it's free. You actually get a lot of generations that you can play around with. It shows you the preview here and the code. OpenAI recently released Canvas, and I was expecting that they would include this, but they didn't. So you still actually can't use OpenAI to do this. And Claude has actually recently gotten better at coding so that it's actually better than GPT by a lot of benchmarks. So we love Claude. And
Claude is really good.
Yeah. So fix that small glitch. That should be fixed for you all. I'll fix it in my main repo as well. And now we can just check out the site. And there you go. I mean, there's some, the interface is looking a little bit different now that it's on a wider screen. So that's something we can improve. And Yulia just mentioned, like, how would the preview look with more complex solutions? And yeah, like, I think that's one of the challenges of like having the AI assistant and the code and the previews. You get this like tiny little preview. Ideally, I think you just have multiple screens, like, or a really big screen to make it look the same. That's what I need. My screen is this big.
If you talk about like really complex solutions, which basically contains more components than just one pizza recipe calculator, then it would be hard for the Claude AI to preview it, basically because it has a lot of custom components and a lot of other components. So in that kind of scenarios, we cannot actually rely on Claude. But for someone who is just starting to code, this is really good, because if you want to make something really, really quick in like 10 to 20 minutes, you can just use this.
Yeah, and I mean, complex is relative, right? So
yeah, complex is relative as well.
Might be simple for another. I find that you can actually go and add like navigation, you can add more components. But once this code starts to get maybe twice as long as it is now, I would say it's going to start to get confused. And eventually what the LLM does is you add in one thing and then it will add that in, and it might forget something else because it's rewriting the code the whole time. And then something else might disappear when you're trying to add a new thing. And that's sort of when you know, okay, I've hit the limit of what this can do. And what that means is that you're going to have to start working in a project with multiple files. So fortunately, there are some smart guys working on a project that will help you to do that, but that's not for today's demo. We'll tell you more about that later. Basically, this is like for making an app in one single file. And so Evelyn, hello Evelyn, said, would you consider a question answer app as complex? As in, is it complicated to connect LLM inference to the Claude-made app? Yeah, that's a great question, and it actually leads to something that I want to do next, which is to show how to use APIs. I think there are some tricky. So basically, you're talking about making a chatbot type app, right? And you can make the interface for a chatbot app really easily. And then the connection to the LLM is a little bit more tricky. Hey Burhan, are you here?
Hello. Yeah, I'm here.
Good to see you. So basically, the connection to the LM can be a little bit tricky But there are ways to kind of hack it together with AI generated code. But personally, I would look for some existing code to do that. I have some templates on my GitHub which can kind of help with that. But the main thing is that you will normally want to have a front end and a back end, and the back end will hide your API keys to the LM provider. If you just have a front end application, then people can kind of steal your API keys. However, for a basic prototype, yeah, we can make something. I hope that answers the question. So let's try it. Like, let's just go and say like, make a new app, very simple chatbot, pre-programmed responses. So we're not going to integrate the LLM yet. This really just excels on the front end. So this will allow us to sort of get the interface as we like it to be. And then we'll have to do a little bit more on the back end. So yeah, so you can make like the front end for it like that, and that looks cool, and we could change a lot of stuff about this and how it looks and add more UI components. Yeah, as far as like connecting it to an API, Claude, at least the live preview, it won't do that. But that's why I actually wanted to show you guys some more tools. And I have created this list. There's a lot of info here. But so we just use Anthropic Artifacts. As you can tell, like, it does React JavaScript. But I recommend it because it's free and it's so easy to use. Yeah, V0, similar. Then we have Bolt, which is another one that came out recently. These are all really similar to what we did today. And then we have one called E2B Fragments, which I've been playing around with. You could also use Replit Agent. So if you want to have an API connection, you either have to write it yourself, or here, as you can see, the APIs column, you can use Fragments or Replit Agent. These are like more advanced AI coding products, and I've tried them out. They're a little bit less intuitive to me than Claude Artifacts. Like, you saw how easy that was, but but you can do more stuff. So let's try E2B Fragments here. So I just Googled for it and it came up. It looks like, oh, let me share it.
Yeah, so v0.dev uses Shetzian, right? And
yeah.
What does Cloud Artifacts use?
Shetzian.
Shetzian as
Everybody
well?
use Shetzian
okay.
these days.
Everyone. And Shetzian is, for everyone who's watching, is the UI library that makes these components that look nice. It includes all the style pre-baked. So I think what I'm actually going to do is, so here you can, I mentioned the stack before. Here you can actually choose the stack that you want. And I want a Next.js stack. Next.js, we could probably do this with different ones. I'm most familiar with Next.js, and I think it would be able to keep the existing interface that we just designed with Fragments. So I like that. So I'm going to actually take this code and copy it. I have not tested this before, but I think it should work. And then I want to say,
When did they release this?
Use this element. It's pretty new.
It's pretty new, yeah. I'm just hearing about it for the first time.
I was going to say, use this element and add backend to connect to OpenAI instead of using
Yeah, and also choose the Claude 3.5 Sonnet instead of
Sorry?
Borromini. Use the Claude model instead of Borromini
Sure.
because
So
it's good.
So this this is going to create a full stack application. There's one downside of doing this is like, as I mentioned, like you should have API keys with an application that connects to a lot of APIs. The demo I wanted to do was a weather app because there's a lot of weather APIs that don't need API keys, so it would be easy. Yeah, let's see. Let's see if this worked.
I think it
So
just created a API route.
this is interesting. So it actually did create some, but it didn't add in. Oh yeah, it's missing a bunch of files. Okay, so I'd say yeah, that didn't really do what I want. Add the missing files.
Let's see what it does.
Oh, but this one maybe can only do one file at a
One
time.
file at a time, yeah. And that's what Claude is also doing, right?
So then we should actually use.
It just made the route.
Yeah, then we should probably just let's have a look. So then there's Bolt, and Bolt can do Next.js, but it can't use APIs. With Fragments, it can do APIs, but I would say it. How do you make a Next.js application with only one file? That's the question. Yeah. So what we could do is actually we could try Streamlit. Let's just try Streamlit real quick. So Streamlit is a different stack. Let's start over. Streamlit is full Python, but it's really good at making full stack apps in one file.
Yeah, we can also try Marblism if you want to, because then we'll be able to like make full stack applications along with the database.
Well, why don't you go ahead and try it, and then if it works, you can show us.
All right, but
Here I'm just going to say, oh yeah, create a chatbot connected to latest OpenAI API to allow the user to chat with an AI. So this one, yeah, it's a bit more tricky than, as I mentioned, because it's sort of a full stack application. It gets a bit more tricky, and it says we'll need to add the OpenAI library as dependency, so it knows how to do that. And I'll just have a little look through this code to see if it makes any sense. It needs to get the
OpenAI. It did add the env.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
And then this looks roughly correct.
Yeah.
Sometimes it makes that mistake. So this could actually be the solution. However, and so just to explain my thought process before, I started with React and then Next.js, but the AI was not in Next.js. You have your backend and your front end in separate files, and the AI didn't know how to do that. So we moved to Streamlit, which can put everything in one file. It's Python. It's a completely different stack, but it's really good to start out. Now we're probably going to get this error, this please cite your OpenAI key, and we got another error, which is that the API is out of date. So for that, I'll probably recommend, I guess the answer is it is pretty complex, honestly. It doesn't seem complex. What do you think?
It doesn't seem complex, but I mean, for someone who is just starting out, it will be a lot confusing for them. So
To do it from scratch.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If someone came to me and said I want to make something like that, I would probably point them to some really simple templates.
Yeah.
It is amazing that AI is still not advanced enough, to do something seemingly simple. I want to do one more example. I want to do the weather one just to show that, for a simpler API that doesn't need API keys, we can actually do this pretty well. So I'm just gonna say, oh, that's too much. I'm just gonna say, let's use this API, this free one, and I'll say, okay, here's the forecast API, and I've just copied like the example URL. I'm gonna go back to fragments and say, we're using Streamlit now. Can you make an app so the downside of Streamlit is that it doesn't look as good. The upside is that you can do more. Make a little bit more complex app with less code.
Yeah, and it will be also good for the AI assistants because it will be all in one file instead of using Next.js, which basically uses multiple files to make a whole project.
Yeah. And that probably means I ran out of credits. So let me just see if I can. That happened to me earlier. I think I've used all my.
You can use Claude as well for the same thing.
Sure, but here we get the live preview, right?
Oh yeah, that's also true. Yeah.
Which is kind of what I wanted to show people today. And it looks like I've reached the limit. But if I would make a new account, aha. So, so I just, it says it's sharing the, here, here it is. So, no, I'm not able to get past it. That's weird.
This is weird. Okay, now, oh yeah, it's working now, I guess.
I think so. I just put in an email address and a password, but I didn't.
No.
Okay, so this demo we can use another one. So we're showing today how to use all free tools. The only one that's not free is Replit Agent, which I think is worth trying out, but it costs like $10-$20 a month, I think.
Yeah, $10-$20, yeah.
And I didn't want to use that for like a free workshop. So basically, E2B. So let's just use Bolt because that's the one that we haven't used, which is Bolt.new. For this one,
and I'm really sorry, guys, but I will have to leave because I have a class. So.
Oh yeah, what's your class?
Yeah, so I have a software engineering class.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Are you gonna use Claude?
No, it's just a theoretical class today. So probably I'm gonna work on some other assignments during the class.
Cool.
Okay, well, this was really fun. But I'll see you guys later.
All right. See you.
See ya.
So Bolt is a more complex one, and
Yeah, it
actually,
works with code bases, right? So
it actually can do multiple files.
yep.
I have had mixed results with it. I've had some bugs with it before. So
Yeah, I actually have set up Marblism, and I do have a project running. We could also show that.
sweet. Is it working?
Yep.
Cool. So yeah, that's perfect because we have about 15 more minutes. So yeah, let's just test the one I made with Bolt real quick.
Cool.
And I used the same prompt. I actually didn't tell it what stack to use here, and it looks like it used Next.js.
Yeah, it generally uses Next.js.
Yeah, and that's actually, now that I remember, if I check back at this handy chart, Bolt doesn't support Python at all, and that's actually because of part of the way that Bolt is made. Um, so let me just get the latitude and longitude of San Francisco, which should be around 37,122. There's a
Wait,
negative.
do you actually remember the coordinates?
Let's just say I do.
Okay.
And what if you need to call for a helicopter? So I'm not sure if this is east or west. Let's see. That's the only thing. Well, it looks like it's the
It's
same.
either 10 or 10.6. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. And I'd say this one worked pretty well. I probably
Mhm.
went
That
a
would be
little bit
cool.
more. If it can do this, then I'd be impressed for sure. And then I would try and make a chatbot with it. I mean, this is for sure one of
Bolt
the.
is actually quicker. It actually makes up for the name. It's Bolt fast.
And I wonder. I'm curious now if they could even improve it by creating some of these files in parallel. I know that's a little bit more tricky, but it's
Hmm.
multiple files. And this is cool. And is Bolt open source?
I don't think so.
So we're looking at like weather around the world now.
Wait, yeah, Bolt.new is open source.
Yeah, right? This is open source.
Hmm.
Pretty sweet. So
So
check France. So let's see. You're in. You're somewhere around here, right?
yeah.
Is that right? 30 degrees?
Wait, yeah, it's actually 30 degrees right now.
Yeah, man. Let's check Alaska.
It
It's cold.
works.
Checks out. Okay. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Now let's try yours.
Yeah, wait, let me share my screen.
Cool.
I'm just gonna share my whole screen. Can you guys see it?
Mm-hmm.
So this is Marblism. This actually, this is actually my preference because it makes you the whole database along with the whole web apps, and you could see more examples on it. So the way it works is like you give it the prompt. I already had set it up because I was using it earlier. So for a hackathon project, we actually made a hackathon project which was based on agriculture insight using NASA's data. So I wanted to see if like we took 2 days to build that, right? So I wanted to see how would Marblism make such complex website, and this was the prompt that I actually gave it. So I gave it, I told it to use like a Llama's API using Grok's model, Llama 3.2, and for the computer vision, of course, it's not going to set up the whole Python files, but I still told it to do it anyway. So I told it to use YOLO v5 for the weed detection, and gave it the page details and other stuff. So actually came up with the result in less than 5 minutes.
So just
So
disclaimer for everyone: this is not a free product.
yeah, yeah, you get the free trial though.
Okay.
Yeah, you could build like
So
a few more.
you can export, you can make something for free and you can export the code. Is that right?
No, for exporting you have to pay them.
Okay, so you can create it for free, but you're kind of locked in. Saying
Yes,
you keep using.
you could see if you want to upload it to your GitHub repository, you have to pay it.
Okay.
It's currently locked.
So that's
So
probably well
yeah,
it's worth checking out. At least you can check it out.
they actually give you like a live code base, so you could make changes and then preview the changes. So this is the
Oh
whole
wait, so
code.
you could actually copy and paste each file and
Yeah,
generate.
yeah, technically you could do that. Also, I'm not sure if they know that, but you could push all the whole code base into your GitHub repo using an SSH token, but without it you cannot. So
Sure,
it's on their fault.
sure. Well, you if you have a terminal here, then you can.
Yeah,
But what's the result for the
yeah.
chatbot?
Wait, let me show you. So this is the landing page that they made, and this gives you an idea of what the website is actually going to be about. And then it's actually sponsored by YC. YC is also here. And then we have like it's the default template the Marblism usually uses. The only downside to Marblism is it uses generic template, which it uses for all of the websites that you're gonna make with it. So even if you try making a website with Marblism, you'll also get this pretty similar results, but with different functionality.
I thought we were
So
trying to make a chatbot.
yeah, but yeah, they do have a chat bar. I'll show you. So
Huh?
this is the landing page, and then if you click on the start button, it'll take you it'll take you to the login page, and this is actually set up. So once you click on sign in, this is going to take you to this section. So we have a personalized chatbot, weed detector, insect detector, and agricultural insights.
Okay.
So if I click on personalized chatbot and ask it, I'll just say hi. So this actually works, but you see the colors are messed up. So I said hi, and then AI actually replied with it, and this actually works. So we could also ask it, um, what crop would you recommend growing in Pakistan?
Okay.
So if I ask that, so it's actually working, but it says I don't have the access to the specific data, but wheat, rice, and cotton are commonly recommended.
So
So
describe to us how you made this and like did
yeah,
you
so
did you actually personalize customize this
no,
chatbot?
I this is completely from Marblism, and I didn't do anything. I just gave it the API key, trusted it with my API key, and I gave it like I show you guys the prompt in before starting. This was the whole prompt, so it was a detailed prompt. I also gave it like the NASA's datasets API key, the endpoint. So I actually came up with a detailed website
Mm-hmm.
and set up everything. And for the chatbot, I also gave it the API key, which you guys could see in the stream. I'll probably change it after the stream ends.
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
so
Okay.
this I gave it a detailed prompt, and it came up with like a pretty neat website. What do you
My
think?
feeling is though that the chatbot part is still a little bit more like a template than it
Right.
actually is from scratch, right?
Yeah, but I actually gave it like a detailed prompt, and this is the first thing that I came up with. I didn't make any changes.
Okay. And if you
Yeah.
wanted to make changes to the chatbot, do you feel like you
Yeah,
could?
if I wanted to make changes, I would generally go here and then make the changes here.
This is a workshop for no coding.
Yep.
So how would you do that without coding? How can you make changes to the chatbot?
Yeah, so we have the source file, and then in the app we could see we have the chatbot folder here. And then we
Okay.
have the page.tsx. So it gives you the whole code, so you could make different changes based on what you actually need.
This is a workshop for no coding for now.
Yeah,
Now,
but
without coding,
go-
how would you make changes
before.
to Tableau using
Oh,
AI?
so you could ask it to make the changes. You could see the
Okay,
chat option.
so let's try it.
Yeah, let's ask it to. Uh, can you give the chatbot personalized instructions based off agriculture? So go through the code base.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the chat uh, Marblism chat, but it actually gets the job done. I'm not sure. I don't really use the Marblism chat much, but it actually works. So let's see
What do
what
you
it
What do you
comes
use?
up with. I would normally export it to my GitHub repo and then use cursor on it. So I'll get the starting point from Marblism and then work on it later with cursor.
Okay, and okay, so it gives you more
Yeah,
refinement.
it generated two tasks. So
That's
it'll modify the AI response in generation handle send message function, and then update the prompt to use agricultural context. So it generates the tasks first, and then move forward to. And if you want to add a separate task, you could also do that and select the file for it.
so my feeling is that this is a much more involved process than using something like cloud artifacts. It's
True.
probably for someone who wants to spend a lot of time uh, building something, which is good because
Mm-hmm.
you kind of have to at this stage. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, like you said, you still don't really prefer editing in this. It's interesting you prefer editing in cursor. Why do you
Yep.
think that is?
Because as I said, the chat version in Marblism is like not that great,
Mhm.
but it still works. But I prefer cursor because it's more. I'm more used to it, so I like to work on cursor and then use the chat button in cursor because it gives you more options to use what LLM you're gonna use, and you don't get the option to choose in Marblism.
So, um, check this out. I've got Bolt open, and I
Mm-hmm.
give it this prompt: create an AI, open AI connected chatbot. Pretty dumb prompt, and it did it. So that's definitely a step above what I had with E2B Artifacts. Um,
Yeah.
and I ran it here. I got the error that said invalid API key.
You just gotta set up the API.
So um, that's actually working. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'll actually just do it right now. Um, so we go to, and the reason why this kind of stuff is kind of impressive for me is that basically there's a lot of small issues that AI comes up against when you're trying to make an AI chatbot. It has to understand about the API key, um, but just sending you into my OpenAI account. But then it also has to know the latest version of the OpenAI SDK, which is getting updated all the time. So it's really easy for the AI to get out of date.
True.
So yeah, actually, do you have an API key that I could just the one
I
that you're
don't
gonna
have the open. I don't have the open AI key.
that was for Claude?
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
okay.
that wasn't even called. That was on Grok. I was using Grok to
Oh,
use Llama.
I can. Um, that's cool. I'm gonna get one from. For some reason, I got it logged out, so I just have to authenticate with my dashboard. Okay. So I'm gonna make a key real quick. New secret key. Test.
But also, Bolt is like a lot more quicker than Marblism.
So here I am pasting my new secret key, and I'm not going to deploy. I'm just going to save it and say, hey, I think I might need to restart the server. It said restarted.
Interesting.
It still says invalid API key. Oh,
It may
why does it say Vite? Okay. Oh yeah, that's because using Vite, of course.
put that in inverted commas.
What'd you say?
Can you put that in inverted commas? Sometimes it blanks out.
In what?
Inverted commas.
In what?
Inverted commas. Inverted commas.
Inverted commas?
Yeah.
What language?
Commas. Hablo no inglés.
Commas? Like a comma?
Yep.
This is a comma.
Yeah, it should do the job.
You want me to put a comma here?
No, not the comma. I said inverted commas. Check the chat. Check the chat.
Yo, this. If that's an inverted comma, then I don't speak English. That's crazy. That's what you call it, right?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, maybe ask it to fix it. Should we try fix these?
Fix what?
Let's ask in the chat. They said should we try to fix these?
Sure, we'll try.
Let Bolt try.
Yeah, it's saying that my API key is invalid.
Again, yeah.
So maybe I messed it up. Yeah, man. I've never heard that been called an inverted comma before.
Well, now you do.
So I'm gonna run. This was fun. Ooh, cool. Yeah.
You got a different error. No, it's the same error, but now they display it.
Made the error more. I'd say that I actually might have messed up the API key somehow. I'm not sure. Or it's not actually reading the API key properly. But yeah, it looks good from my dashboard. So I don't know, guys. We were really close with that one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I gotta run, but thanks for joining.
Thank you for joining.
Cool. Peace.
Peace.